dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye, up. Bye, up. With that being said, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. And let's get straight into it, man. I highly appreciate your support. Thank you so much. So, the Salinas murder squad, right? Salas. I've done a lot of time with authors from Salas, man. And I will tell you, Salinas is the mecca of the Norteno movement. It always has been, always will be. You know, there's always that debate between Salinas and San Jose, Sanjo. But I think at the end of the day, Salinas just gets them just by a toenail, right? Salinas, like I said, you're born with a red paño. Now, there are Southsiders in that area. Don't get it twisted. The Upstater movement has established everywhere. It just is what it is. But at the end of the day, some people feel some type of way about that. And these individuals, man, that were sentenced yesterday to a combined 161 years, definitely or allegedly felt that type of way, felt some type of way, you know. So for those of you that don't know, the murder squad, as they're dubbed, right, by, of course, you know, the news, were a collective of individuals who were alleged Norteños or Norteño affiliates, right, associates. And what had happened was they had come together with the understanding that, you know, they were going to eradicate the Southern presence in Salinas and the surrounding areas. Now, of course, for Salinas being a small town, or as small it is, you would think, you know, they get labeled the farmland, the salad bowl, lechuga. There's a lot going on there. But you wouldn't think gang banging is probably the number one thing happening. But it definitely is. That whole area, man, Salinas, Greenfield, King City, Gonzales, you know, has been always notoriously known for putting in that work. So several years back, man, these young gentlemen were arrested in association with 11 murders and I think over 15 or 16 more shootings that happened in Salinas. And it was alleged that they decided to go hunting. They started to go hunting for the adversaries, right? Now, I remember back in my days, in my neighborhood, man, there was alleged people hunting, I guess you would say. And what they considered hunting was looking for the Opps, looking for the opposition, cruising around. If you see someone, man, that doesn't look like you, or you see someone that you could identify as the opposition, then you get off where you're mad at. Now, most of the time back in our days, we weren't going to kill them. We weren't looking to shoot at them. It was more so we wanted to jump out and put hands on them. We wanted to get off. And don't get it twisted, man. A lot of the upstaters and the Sureños were doing the exact same thing. They were cruising around trying to get in the mix as well. So it became a dangerous situation because you did have dudes that were shooters. You did have guys that were willing to go the extra distance, the extra mile, man. And instead of rather just getting off and, you know, getting off the ride, jumping out and handling business, you know, a quick fade, a fight, it led to stabbings and shootings and in some cases even murders. So that type of stuff has been going on in the Central Valley, in the Monterey County area for years. You know, I remember specifically having a few homeboys get locked up behind hunting the opposition. And I had a couple homeboys that met their demise. They actually went out hunting and didn't expect dudes to clap back. And I got a couple homeboys that ended up dying in Merced because of that. But these guys, it was a pretty notorious case because the way and the efficiency in which the district attorney and the authorities said that they were doing this. Okay, and everything that I'm saying is alleged because, again, man, these youngsters do have get-backs. They do have appeals. And so everything I say in this video is alleged and not facts because we don't want to put something on someone's plate, period. But it's just a good story to tell, right? So it was alleged that these guys were a lot more militant than just the average hunting party. That these guys actually would have different vehicles to watch their back, vehicles to scout the area and look for opposition, and then, of course, the shooters. Now, for whatever reason, the media is saying that they did this, and of course, they're saying they did this because they had lost a homeboy in their neighborhood, and so they felt some type of way. And then there is other aspects where they're saying that it was all about, you know, who got the most kills and earning stripes. You know, when you're living that gang life, you're doing what you do, especially if you got a group of homeboys, man. Nobody wants to be on the bottom. Everybody wants to be that hitter. Everyone wants to be that shooter or that killer, right? And it sounds good at that time. But that 161 year sentence don't sound great. Not at all. So these guys, they went out over a time period and 11 bodies dropped. Now, unfortunately, there was people there that were casualties of war. There were people there that were approached and I guess shot or killed that weren't even involved in the gang life. But that's how it is. That's what it is, man. That's why when people ask me, I've had several people ask me on lives, hey, how is it that have never been in Northern California? How is it, if I want to go up there for a family visit or take my family to Great America or take my family to an A's game or go here or go there, is it cool? And I always say, well, that depends upon you. It ain't even cool for me in some instances, in most instances. But I mean, if you go looking the part, dressing the part like a gang member, bald head, jerseys on, Ben Davis's, Cortez's, if you're not gang related, what the fuck are you doing wearing that type of clothing? I understand there's a cholo culture in the raza. I understand as blacks, man, there's also a culture. But if you don't want to get involved or be labeled or misjudged, then stop misrepresenting what you are. Just dress normal. Throw a clean shirt on, some nice pants. And even then, depending upon the area you go to or depending upon who you run into, it can get ugly just like anywhere else. Just like in Southern California, Central California, everywhere. I think it's pretty much the same. We live in a dangerous world where I couldn't tell you what to do or how to do it, man. You just got to kind of live right off the cuff, right? That's the way I do it every day. There's never an instance in my life where I think, hey, everything is cool. When I wake up in the morning, my shit's on swivel already. I'm already of an understanding that, hey, today can be that day. So you have to have that mentality. So when you go up to Northern California, yes, there are a lot of gangs. Yes, there are warring factions between North and South. Yes, there's a lot going on. So definitely the way you dress and present yourself, the areas you go to, you're liable to see anything. Well, anyways, in Salinas, man, it was even more so than that. And they were targeting guys allegedly that were wearing blue, that were bald, maybe had tattoos, rather than people that they knew were their enemiga, people that they knew for sure were Southerners. So it was a North and South issue, okay? And I understand because, having done time since a young age, like I said, Salinas was the Mecca. It was the standard of Norteño living. For a long time, I couldn't believe there was a Southern presence in that area just because the abundance and numbers of the Norteños. And it seemed like every Norteño I ran into from Salinas, whether they were from Casitas, Semsters, Veranda, Acosta Plaza, and so many others, right? They were all solid as fuck. In fact, everyone in that area, Greenfield, Grifas, Gonza, they were just solid homies. And very educated and laced up, and kept themselves at a standard of professionalism and kept themselves to a higher standard. And I respected it, right? At the end of the day, we were all gangbanging. We were all doing wrong. We were all fucking up. We were all misled. We were all doing things, man, that we thought would make the next man think we were cool. Let's just keep it real. And that beat has continued to go on, man, with this younger generation and generations after. I'm sure, it's all about what other people think about you. I know there's that old saying, man, don't care what people think about you. Man, just do you, right? But in reality, we all care what people think about us. Just like a chick puts on makeup because she cares what people think about her. Just like we put on that smooth cologne and we try to look nice, is because we care what people think about us, right? Rather than just being professional in ourselves and caring what we think. It's all about a perception. So these guys allegedly were out there trying to take Southerners off the map. And to be honest with you, like I said, I didn't even know there were Southsiders in that area for a very long time. Then when I did start to hear, hey man, they've had a presence for a very long time. They're not as deep, but they're established. Okay, and I know, and I'm coming from an ex-Norteño's perspective. Every time, especially in the youth authority, man, when we'd have gang of homeboys from Salas, San Jose, San Fran, everywhere, Tulare County, Merced, Modesto, Stockton. We'd all be right there throwing a juntar, chilling. And the the conversation would get brought up. Damn, homie, you guys got a gang of them fools. We used to call them a gang of them thangs or fools, right? You got a gang of them thangs in your town, right? That meant sureños. And vatos will always be like, nah, Charlie, home, not in my town. And the truth was, yes, they were present everywhere. Yes, they were able to get a foothold and establish and get deeper and deeper. Okay? So you had dudes feeling some type of way. They were under the assumption, man, they were going to eradicate them, get rid of them. And the Southsiders felt like in order to move in on territory and gain footing and establish numbers, they had to do the same thing. Only I don't think they were as well coordinated, because I know we weren't in my neighborhood, as well coordinated as this alleged murder squad was. You know, to actually go out there using tactical moves, you know, going 3 or 4 carloads deep, having a getaway plan. It's like they thought of every different twist and turn. But again, when you're out there doing several murders, man, you're out there, eventually, law enforcement's going to catch up to you. Law enforcement's going to recognize the pattern, and people are going to give you up. See, the streets talk way too much, and it happens. So anyways, I've heard a lot of different stories. I've never touched on the murder squad story. It happened several years ago, and I know they've been sitting there, and it was a joint task force of federal agents and, of course, local law enforcement that end up apprehending these guys, and these guys have been fighting this case for a while. I never wanted to touch on it because it was an ongoing investigation at the highest level, and because, you know, it was a serious affair. You know, it's alleged that different gangs within the Salinas area came together, you know, opposites, Crips and Norteños came together to comprise what they were calling an enterprise, right? Now, I don't know any details into that, and I won't give any details if I did into that. That's Salinas business. But I do know that seeing these young men sentenced to 161 combined years isn't far-fetched. This is what you youngsters have to look forward to. When you're out there trying to earn stripes and prove something, what do you have? A bunch of disaster, a bunch of consequences after the disaster, a bunch of crying mothers and crying family members that are not going to get their people back, innocent people that are dead. Okay? Now, here's my belief. When you're in the game, you're not innocent. Once you sign on that dotted line and you get jumped in that barrio, whether you like to believe it or not, you are now put your name on a lista, on a list. You have now made everyone aware you're a gang member. Once you have that red paño or that blue paño or whatever it is, Crip or Blood, every different ethnicity, Woods, once you have decided, hey, this is what I claim, this is what I represent, then you also got to know that is what you'll die for. Okay? You take the good with the bad, not with the grain of salt. So when you're out there moving that way and you get clipped in the process of gangbanging, best believe you signed up for that. You reap what you sowed. Yes, your family is going to cry and mourn over you, but it's expected. See, in the game, in gangbanging, they never tell you about death and incarceration. Those come hand in hand with gangbanging. It's not all about cruising around, smoking the Opps, chilling on the block, looking cool, all the beaches and it's supposed to spread, homie, and all. It's not all about that. It's that plays an intricate part into it. The canalismo, the love for the homies in the hood, the representing of the water, the wearing the shirts like we used to with the old English and the hats and the, you know, all that. But there's them late nights, man, when there's a lot of disloyalty, treachery, homeboys snitching on each other, homeboys giving up each other's fucking whereabouts when they're on the run. You know, homeboys sleeping with your old lady. There's a lot of different shit that happens. I'm not saying in every instance, but it does. So you have to be aware that when you're involving yourself in this mix, man, there's definitely deathly consequences. And you can be incarcerated for the rest of your life. And to me, that equates to death. You're a dead man walking. You've given up your life, your freedom. Prison is a lonely, lonely state to be in, man. A state of mind, a state of everything, right? You no longer can be there for your kids' graduation or your anything. And we all know this. I'm telling you things you already know. So with the Salinas Murder Squad, these youngsters, and they're young men, are gonna know the system well. You know, now, let's talk about their case. Very notorious, and they got a lot of notoriety in the Salinas area. Everyone's heard about them. And now if you're just now tuning in and hearing about the Salinas Murder Squad, they're very well known the whole case is very well known in Northern California. I know there's a lot of people in Southern California say, well, this type of shit happens every day. It does in Northern California too, but to this degree and this level, I implore you, do your research and Google this. Get the details and see how tactical and how militant this was carried out, allegedly. And how different groups came together for these killings, right? Now I'll say this. Albeit that it's very a notorious case, but once these guys get to reception, because they were sentenced yesterday to a combined 161 years. Some got 27 years, one got 33 years, another one got 25 years. I commend them for staying solid. They all stood solid as crime partners. No one told on no one. They're all pretty solid, right? But I will say this. There was a lot of people that testified. There was a lot of people that felt some type of way. A lot of victims' families at the courts. I tapped in with the homeboy from Salinas that said, yeah, bro, we knew they were going to stretch them cats out, but they really did a number on them, right? But no amount of time can equal a life. So I'm very surprised these guys just all didn't get life without the possibility. There's a lot of different case factors, age, stories people are telling, witnesses, but they got stretched out. They're going to be locked up for a few decades, the majority of their life, the meat of their life, right? The good parts. Now, what happens when they get to reception? I'm going to tell you what happens. If they still are active in their gang and group, if they're still pushing that movement, well, they start from the starting line. Whatever you did before, there's going to be some homeboys, oh shit, you're one of the murder squad. That's right, homie. That's right. Hey, check it out. Here's a pedazo. Let's go do our thing. Right? Everything you've done, you're back to zero. And it's crazy because you think about the dropout movement, the dropout era, and how once you drop out of the gang, once you back up, once you're no longer in that life, that everything you've done up until that point doesn't count. All the sangre you spit, all the sacrifice and time you did for the cause, going out to that yard, man, getting off, backing up other homeboys, pulling dudes off the homeboys when they're trying to book them. I mean, everything you've done doesn't count anymore. It's like it's erased, like it never happened. Maybe in your mind, but not in the mind of the Norte, right? Or the Sur or whatever. Just didn't happen anymore. You're a Dio Holmes. You got nothing coming. Stop telling stories about us, right? That's it. It's kind of the same thing when you're active too. When you get to reception, hey, what are you here for, bro? Yeah, I'm one of the murder squad, or I'm here for fucking shooting a Southside, or I'm here for, whatever you're there for, which you think is like notorious. Oh, that's right, homie. Back to square zero. None of that counts. Now it's time to make your reputation and stake your claim within here. So it's pretty much the same. Nothing you did counts, bro. So it's a trip, when you got that gangbanging mentality, especially like in Northern California, Southern California, raza, very political. You do the things that you're told to do or you want to do, and there's going to be repercussions for everything. Now, these youngsters got 161 years. Did they deserve it? Well, according to law enforcement, society, the community, absolutely, right? I'm not going to judge them. I don't know if this was a setup, if they're guilty, but this is a typical situation where gangbanging got them nowhere but incarcerated forever. And when you're doing things like this, hunting and murders, and you're trying to gain that notorious reputation, well, this is what comes with it. This is exactly what comes with it. The unfortunate thing of this is not that these guys getting locked up for all this time. This is what they wanted. This is what they were striving for. When they say you're striving, this is what they were striving for. So they got exactly what they wanted. I feel sorry for their families that have to go through this with them, because not only are they locked up, but their families are going to do time with them. It's a very shameful thing to walk around your city, man, and know that your son was out there killing people. It's like, it's people don't understand that situation. How my mom had to carry her head around town knowing that her son was a fucking dumbass, locked up for shooting people and dumb things, right? And then to do it all over again with my brother. It's just we put her through a lot, man. And that's why I try to make amends in this life as much as I can. Not more so to help her out, but more so to help me out, to know that, hey, I'm trying to make a wrong a right. Unfortunately, these guys are going to have to learn. They're going into a situation in the California prison system that is no joke, that right now is all mixed up. They're doing integrations. They're putting people. over here, over there. Now, most of these guys, because of the notorious case, the notoriety, will be on 4 yards, high deserts, New Folsom, Salinas Valley, these notorious prisons, Corcoran, and there's no time to sleep on nothing. There's no rest for the weary. You want to be out there hunting people and doing things. Now you could be the hunted within them walls with nowhere to run. It's unfortunate and it's crazy, but it is what it is. My condolences go out to those families that lost their loved ones. It's been years now, but it takes time for these big cases, man, to be solved and to be finished. And so the news is yesterday, man, not only just yesterday, but several hours ago, these guys were ultimately sentenced to 161 years. So for the youngsters out there striving to be gang members and thinking it's all fun, like what's his name, Confuzzle, D. Kane, and all these other fucking riffraff TikTok gangbangers that think that they're cool, that want to go and join gangs, that want to get a tattoo on their face and don't even know what the fuck it means, that want to go out there hunting opposition because they want to get rid of them from their city. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, man. The Norteno and the Southern movement, upstate, all that different things, Norte, all that going at it. I respect the try, but no one's getting rid of no one. There's always going to be Norteños. There's always going to be Southside. It just is what it is, man. You have to conform to that fact. What's the crazy thing is motherfuckers would go kill each other on the street, shoot each other, and then go function together on the yard in prison. See, they never give you that rundown and tell you that. Defend your homeland. Absolutely. Defend your body. Absolutely. If you're living that life, that's what's expected of you. To defend, what little thing you think is yours. But at the end of the day, it's really not ours. The government, actually, it's theirs. It's the United States. It's just a street we live on, right? But we're not going to get too technical. Defend your body the way you see fit. But just understand, when you're out there hunting opposition, the North and South, and this is why I talk about unity, and this is why I talk about, man, there'll be a lot less deaths, a lot less youngsters getting this amount of time. I'm sure every one of these youngsters in this picture has sat back and thought, like, damn, bro, I wish I wasn't in this position. Well, it's too late, man. Ultimately, like I said, everything is alleged. I hope they get backs if they deserve it, on appeal. But as of right now, man, the Salinas Murder Squad has a collective of 161 years, which is crazy. That's Texas numbers. But in Texas, one person to get 561 years. It's crazy, man. In California, it's unprecedented to see them given this much time, but it just is what it is. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. Look, I want people to understand I'm not here to poison the mentality of a gang member. I'm in hopes that you would see the realities of how I did my time, all the sacrifice, what I had to go through, and understand that others that try to steer you in the direction of nothing, right? Of nothingness, of being in a cell or being dead, man. It's up to you to have common sense. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, man, gangbanging's bad and all that. I'm going to let you judge that for yourself. But what I will say is this. It wasn't good for me. Not at all, man. The gun.